Okay, good afternoon. This is Links. I am continuing with the series of videos that talks about what obstacle, pain, concern, challenge you have, what's your biggest challenge you have, obstacle, pain, or concern reading. And someone asked me in one of my groups, Wild Ass Cardmancy, one of my Facebook groups, to address the idea of not just card combinations, but how cards influence each other. So the whole idea that what cards surrounding it influence it. And I was going to do this as a layout with the camera up above, but I thought that might bring up some challenges. So bear with me. Let me do my best here to sort of show you. Let's say, for example, let me use Lenormand first as an example, and then I'll use tarot, and then I'll use playing cards. Okay, so let's for example, let's say that you got the mountain. Where's the mountain? Actually, the mice is a good one. I heard someone say about the mice, there's no positive ever for the mice. So let's say the mice comes up and you're like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a loss. Well, you could tell person, I see a loss coming, and then they could freak out, or you could freak out, oh shoot, there's a loss coming. But what if it's next to the tower? Well, then you could say, well, it's a reduction of ego. Let's say the whip comes up, and people are like, well, that's a bad one. But then let's say it comes up, and then next to it or above it, or say it comes up above it in something, and you could say, you're doing work with the idea of creating fortune. Maybe it comes before it, or would that be before it, or behind it? So let's say behind it, there's some fortune in this situation that has come your way, that has actually demanding new work to be able to make it go forward. Let's say it goes before it, and then you could say, well, the work that you did is about to pay off. Make sense? Okay, so then let's do this. So, and then sometimes, sometimes I'll do it like where the card's pointing. Sometimes you'll get a feel that, okay, so like someone could say that maybe was a heartbreak, or maybe below the surface. You see it like this, it's below it, and then maybe you say, okay, you're in a relationship right now, but under the surface, you're really wanting to separate yourself from it. Or in the front, you might say, coming your way, you're gonna separate from it, or there was a loss, or you just cut something from your life that made you more in line with your heart. So depending upon if it's above, sometimes I look at it, above is what's in their head or what's in their mind. Sometimes below, when it's below, I look at what's in the subconscious. Behind what's, what just happened and what that created now, and then what this becomes what's now, and then this becomes what's in the future if it's before it. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, so then let's do it with tarot. And especially if you don't use upside downs or right side ups, because some people don't use upside down, right side up, right? So then it says, well, depending upon what cards are around it. So then let's say, let me see an example here. Let's say moving. There's a moving card here, okay? And then let's pull another one. So there's a move coming your way in relation to your home and your security. There's a move coming your way away from a feeling of loss or a sickness. So you're coming out of a sickness, moving to a better place. Let's say this is under the surface. There's a move coming your way that under the surface subconsciously is going to test you. That's the 9 of Wands. There's a move coming your way that will bring you greater strength in the future. Let's do another one. Let's like the Empress. Where's the Empress? Let's say you got the Empress, right? She's usually health. So let's say you got the Empress and where is she? Health, wellness, abundance is usually the Empress, right? So let's say you had the Empress. She's not here. So it's taken off out of the deck. She's just gone. So say you get the Empress, and then it comes up with this. And then let's say you had a Tower in the back of it. Then you could say, well, there was a health problem that caused, these two combined. This would be like good health, but then this would be a crashing of good health. And then let's say there's a recovery, good news coming your way. So this is where you gotta you could read it this way, and you could go completely into your intuition, and you can go, okay, I see a failure in health that is about to return. So like say I'd look at the butterfly there, maybe saying it's causing a return. I did another video on how you look at the card and you just see what stands out. It tells you what's going on. So if I were to do that, I'd look at it and say maybe, well, this feels real spiky, so it feels like there was a crash in health, but there's a return coming. But if you can't do that and you want to look at what cards are around, it's like, well, the Tower's next to it, which probably means something collapsed. But then this is in front of it, which means, but there's going to be good news coming your way. So then let's put her up. A woman's health. Okay, so that's the queen of what do you call it? Queen of Swords, right? Woman's health. Let's pick another one. Improves, or is pretty good right now. Improves, and she gets a new offer, and or she's out actively seeking new ways to improve her health. Okay, so I would sometimes look at, especially when I first started doing grand tableaus with my first Lenormand deck, I'd sometimes look at what's pointing at what. So like you'd got two cards. I do it with playing cards a lot. I'll show you with playing cards, like what card's pointing at another. So let's say you got a woman who's about to make a choice between two men. Okay, so let's say there's the king of spades, right? Then we got a woman. Then we got the king of hearts. Okay, there's the king of hearts, right? And then we got the woman in here. Where's the queen? Okay, so there's a queen. So let's say we've got someone asks a love question, and you're like, well, I see you between two different men. And then I'd say that I noticed that the card was like this on the table. I'd say it looks like you're leaning towards this darker guy. There's a guy that's really emotional, and he really satisfies your emotional needs, but you like the other guy who's got power. It looks like you're leaning towards him. Okay. So let me pick another one with playing cards. So let's say this. Okay, what is this? This is our nine of spades. Okay, so I'd say, and let's say that indicates an illness here, which it can. There's an illness or a great deal of illness, and then it comes up with this good news about an illness. Or if it was behind, I'd say you had some good news that was crashed by an illness, or you had some good news that has been affected by you're not accepting the good news, you're kind of cursing yourself. Or I'd say, in this case, when it comes before, I'd say, there's a difficult time that you're coming out of, and you're about to have some very good news. This has been a very difficult time for you, and it's gone over and over and over again. And you're about to have some very good news come your way. You can read it as a subject, a modifier. So I'd say there's a dark individual who keeps cursing himself. Let me give it a modifier. For the sake of security. Or he finds security in cursing himself. Herself. Okay. So that's how you do it. I hope this helps. Think about, you can read them as a sentence. There's a social situation. in which you're going to find new love that's going to bring great fortune your way, or you could use it as a modifier. There's a very clever man who is prone to getting in his own way. Or you're very clever, you're about to find your way out of this obstacle, and that's about to bring victory. So what happens like with anything else, like a sentence or like a painting. If you put something in a painting, let's say you put in a painting, like you put a picture of a young person, and then it's a beautiful picture of a relationship, and you've got a man and a woman, and it's a beautiful pastoral picture. They're in a field, and they're holding hands, and then you'd say this is a painting of two people in love. Now, if you back off and you see that in the picture there's a picture of a big, huge demon reaching over them, that suddenly changes the picture, doesn't it? So, just like a word, you got doorway, and you can add a modifier. So, you got, you say beautiful doorway. There's a beautiful doorway, or an ornate doorway. Or you can say there's a creepy doorway. There's two different effects that you get. So think about that. I hope this helps. I can do more examples of this if you like, but that's how you do it. You can take something as it is, but then the more you add, the more comes up. So you can say, I'm going to pull one card and get everything I can from it. There's the man. Now add to it. There's the man. He's in a house with his child. So it's still the man, but now you know more about it. He's in a house with a child, and there's a key to something that they're doing, about something that's been blocking them, and their health and their growth. That's how you do it. I'm Lucky Links. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, put them in the thing below. I'll do my best to answer as always. And you, if you got, what's your obstacle, fear, challenge? What's your big challenge, obstacle, thing that stands in your way, pain, when it comes to reading? Put it in the thing below, or join my group, Wild Ass Cartomancy, and I'll do my best to do a video and answer it. As always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do.